What's up, guys? It's Missy. I am back with another SimCity Build video, and this video is going to be about groups in general. Not just my group, not just group rules, but how you can be a good group member and how you can act. How can you run a group beneficially? What do you need to do as a leader? What do you need to do as a member? What the senior role entails, what the vice president role entails. Every single thing that you would ever need to know about groups is going to be in this video. Now, for all you whiny crybaby bitches that are going to start complaining and pissing and moaning about the length of this video, you might as well just leave, because I've decided that I don't give a shit anymore, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and if you don't like it, you don't have to be here and watch it. There's plenty of other videos on YouTube that you can spend your time with. So, if you want to get the know-how and know everything there is to know about the game, then you will watch the video. And if you don't, and you want a quick 5-minute dumbass answer, then there's a lot of those out there that you can go and get. So, that's the disclaimer. Missy doesn't give a shit, okay? Now, motherfuck, dude, I'm going to be so pissed if I wasted my time doing this minerals assignment. Hang on, you guys. I forgot all about it this morning. Now, okay, group members, how can you... What the hell is wrong with this stupid thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, who does that? Jesus Christ, dude. Why does it take so long to think? Hello? Da-da-da-da. Wake up. Anyways, okay, so, you guys, groups, what do you do? How do you be a good group member? Well, first off, you don't want to be lazy, and you don't want to be inactive. Every time that you get on the game, how many times have you sat there on the game and just lurked in the chat and just read the chat and not even talked? Everybody can raise their hand to that one. We've all done it, okay? Now, you might not be in the mood to talk. That's fine. You may not be in the mood to help people. That's fine. But know this. You have to contribute to your club and be a good group member. How can you do that? How can you complain about not getting help when you need it, but not providing help to others in their time of need? And that can go with anything in life. You know what I'm saying? People are so unbelievably selfish, ungrateful, disrespectful, and it's gotten to the point of ridiculous. Everybody has this me first, I'm the only one that matters attitude. And if you go into a group with that attitude, that is what you're going to get. You're going to get a bunch of people with the same attitude. Okay? If we all sit down to dinner at a table and eat dinner, and you're not providing any bit of what goes into that dinner, then why are you even sitting down to eat? Like, really? If you're not bringing home any food, if you're not bringing home the money, if you're not cooking, if you're not helping with the dishes, if you're not participating in some fashion to contribute, why are you even sitting down to dinner? Now, let's say that you're unable to contribute because of some physical disability or something, or whatever. That's a little bit different in a life situation, okay? Because then somebody who loves and cares about you takes over your level of responsibility. For example, I have somebody in my group that has a lot of medical issues. Now, everybody in life has life shit that goes on, right? And the one thing that you'll hear from the group members in your club is, well, I have to work. Well, I got to sleep. Well, I got kids. Well, I got a life. Well, da-da-da. Well, yeah. But this is a game, okay? We're here to play a game. If you are that busy in your life to where you do not have time to play, then don't take up a spot in your group and not be if you're not contributing equally to the group and putting in what everybody else is putting in, then you need to leave. I mean, that's just how it is. Now, if there's something comes up, then that's fine. You know, if it's like, oh, I was sick this week. Anybody who's going to boot you for being sick is an asshole. But if you're sick every day of the week, all day, and you're never active and you're never on, then you're just taking up a space that somebody else could be utilizing. And it's selfish of you to do that, right? Now, as a leader, you can't allow this type of thing to go on. Because if you make an exception for one, you've got to make an exception for all, okay? And when you do that, you will start to notice that you will have a very inactive group. And people don't care about how you get an active group. People don't care about all the work that the president has to go through to remain active. People only look at you like, you're a bitch, You're nagging at everybody, and they don't see the level of responsibility that the president has in comparison to a member, okay? A member of a group really requires little to no effort. You pretty much open up your game, you do what you want to do because you're going to join a group that suits you. You're not going to join an avid war group if you're a comm player. If you do that, then you're just going to be a burden to them, right? So people build relationships, things in the game change, and then their needs change. And instead of saying, you know what, I really do enjoy the company here, but unfortunately, I don't want to play war avidly and consistently, and that's what you guys are about, so I think I'm going to have to go and find a club that better suits my needs, right? Now, let's say that your club says, you know what, we're not really just a war group, we kind of do a little bit of everything or whatever. Whoever the president is, whoever's in charge, that person is going to tell you what they want from their members, what level of activity they expect, what type of group they are. And that is the very first thing that you need to do when making your selection. You need to decide the group that best suits you. Do not follow people simply because you like playing with just those people, okay? I'm not saying that if you have a really good active group and you have all these really nice people to play with, that you leave just because they don't do war. But if war is something you really, really, really like to do, maybe once a week, then say, you know what? A lot of people, members, will say, you know what? I'm going to have a war group that I go to once a week where I do war for 3 days. Then I'll come back and I'll be active with you guys this many days out of the week. And a lot of people do that. And that's totally cool. But here's the thing. You can't be a burden to your group. And what can you do to be a good member? How can you contribute? Well, let's see here. First things first, and this is a rule in my group. You are not even allowed to start trading, and that's a new rule today. You're not allowed to even start trading or ask for not one item in my group until you watch our group rules video. This video is going to be taking over the placement of that video. Those group rules are, and I'm going to list them off really, really quick, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to explain why they are the way they are. The group rules, son of a bitch, see what just happened? Okay. The group rules are, always say the amount when asking for items. This is extremely crucial, okay? No exceptions. I don't care if you want 800 of something. Say the amount. I don't care if you have a flight that says bread rolls and you don't know how many. State that. Say, you know what? I have a flight. This is the item it's asking for. The reason I tell people to state that is because you can take a pretty good guess on what it's going to ask for. If it's asking for planks, if Chronic comes on, being a higher level player, and she says, you know, I need planks, I don't know exactly how many because it's for a London flight, I would say, okay, I know that when the planks come in for request, especially for high level players, that they normally come in around 15 or 18 each. So I know that she needs quite a few, right? But if she's a lower level player, I know it's probably going to ask her for like 5 or 6. If it's for melons, I know it's probably not going to ask her for more than 3 melons. So you can take a pretty good guess when something like that happens if you state what you need it for. If you say something like, I need 200 brown textiles, and then people don't put up any because they think, oh, well, this dude needs a lot and I only have 10, so I'm just going to keep them. That's stupid because they don't expect anybody to actually put up 200 because most people don't have 200 or would want to sell 200. They expect that you realize they want a steady flow so that if you're on the global market and you see them, that you can say, you know what, I know so-and-so needed 200, so I'm just going to buy him anytime I see him on global because I'm a low-level player and he's a higher-level player. And I know that his global market is flooded with higher-level items. So me as a low-level player, I want to do what I can do to contribute to alleviate some of the strain on the high-level players. Because the high-level players have very little help from the low-level players, it makes it difficult for you to assist the high-level players. So you have to help them in other ways. There's many ways that you can contribute to your group. And in many ways, people don't even realize how they're being a really bad member. And I'm going to explain what that is. How many times have you guys been in a group where or on global, and you see like a lock for sale, and you see the group shield, it shows that they're in a group. And you think, what's the very first thing? Well, the first thing I think is, wow, I'm sure somebody in his group would have really liked to have this, but sure, I'll go ahead and buy 20 fucking storage from you. Why not? Right? That's so rude. Like, I can't even begin to explain how unbelievably rude that is to everybody in your group. If you're not trading your storage and you don't want anything for them, you just want cash, first off, that's the stupidest thing you can do to yourself. But saying that that's what you wanted to do, why would you not help the people that you play with every day get to what they need to get to? Why would you give it to some stranger on global that could just be wasting it or doing whatever with it? Why? Why wouldn't you want to help the people that you see every day? I used to have a girl in my group that would spend cash on them and then sell them to global over giving them to the group. Like, who does that, right? Now, okay. In our group, all depots, hang on. All depots are up for grabs. Why? Well, because when people use them as backup storage, they can't retrieve the items. So unless somebody goes and buys it for them and sells it back to them, or they have a feeder, it just sits there and then somebody joins the group, it gets sold, and then drama happens. So, or the person puts something up for sale for somebody while they're at their depot, they see other things for sale, they buy them, and then the person bitches that they wanted to keep it. Well, that is going to alleviate all that drama because it's not a storage facility. And it just creates problems. So that is why all depots are up for grabs. Now, let's say that somebody's doing an epic project in your group and they need help. Saying that they are using 3-pointers, not 1-pointers. Because I'm not going to contribute my hard-to-get items to somebody who's giving them to 1-pointer buildings. I don't even do that for my own game. Why would I do it for yours? Okay? Now, how can you be an active good member to your club mates? No, shit. God damn it. I keep putting up the wrong thing. How can you be an active member and good? Well, the first thing that a lot of people do, the biggest mistake that a lot of you guys make, is you sell items that you really shouldn't be selling at all, but you sell them to global, or you don't buy things on global. For example, okay, I know that making gnomes is a very high profit item in the garden shop, right? I need cement and glue. Cement and glue are not easy for me to find at my level, but there's a lot of level 18 to 24 players in my group right now that see cement and see glue all the time on global. Do you know how many of those players could take 2 minutes out of their day to stock up on that stuff when they see it, buy it, and put it for sale for the high level players in the group? They could. It would take 2 seconds out of their whole day. Right? And they don't. They don't think about the high-level players. They don't think about how the high-level players could make money doing that. So I would be like, okay, look, I know that so-and-so would need a lot of cement and glue. So I'm going to say, hey, Chronic, come over here. It's saying I had a feeder or something. I found 20 cement on global. I buy them all up, and I say, hey, you know, there's a ton of cement and glue in my depot for anybody who wanted to make gnomes to make some money, or if anybody needs it for the contest of mayors or for whatever they need in their game. A lot of people could keep their depot stocked with decent items, and they choose not to. They choose to global them without helping their group members. So I used to give people a list, and I'd say, you know what, if you're ever selling this stuff to global, offer it to me or the group first, right? Then I realized, well, this list is actually pretty long because it's all the decent items, right? So most of the time, the level 24 to like 35 players are the ones that sell decent items because they don't know what they're doing. They make a lot of mistakes, and they're usually the ones that have the really badass depots with like paint and ladders and cream and beef and cheese and things like that. That type of stuff you don't see on global very much. So essentially, if you were to be in a group, what would be beneficial would be having a group where everybody is equally active. Maybe, you know, there's going to be the people that are on all day, every day. Then there's going to be the people that check in periodically throughout the day, you know, when they're on break for work or whatever. Then there's going to be the people that check on every couple days. Those types of people are the ones that I have a problem with, because I know that you're on the game more than one time in 3 days, okay? And if you're not, then you need to drop out and come back when you're going to be more active. Because everybody should have enough time out of their day to take 5 minutes to open their game and refill their shops. If you know you're doing it, all you have to do when you're on is say, hey, does anyone need anything while I'm on? I'm about to go back to work, or I'm only on for a few minutes, or whatever, or I have some items up in my depot for you guys. If you end up needing them for the contest of mayors, go ahead and take what you need. Don't wipe out people's depots. Take only what you need. When I post things like 2 paint, 2 ladders, 5 cheese, whatever, I post it not so somebody can just wipe me out in one shot. I post it so that people can have it if they need it for the contest of mayors. You know what I do at the beginning of the week when I know that there's going to be people doing upgrades for airport upgrades? I go and I shop global on the day off from Com. And I buy like 2 of every airport item, and I put them for sale in my depots, and in my depot slots. And I say, you know what, you guys, I have airport up for you guys if you need it for the contest of mayors. So that way, if somebody in my group gets a task for a London upgrade or whatever, and they needed to do it, they can get it done. That's what I can do. And it takes little to no effort for me to help them, and it alleviates their issues that much more. I put a few tape. I make sure that I run, even if I ran a silver token on nails, that's going to provide me with like 60 or 80 nails. I think it's 80, might be 60 nails. Okay. And I can just put a bunch of nails up for people for when they have to do their VU repairs, their war delivery, whatever it is, right? I can post up things like 1 paint so that if somebody ends up needing 1 paint for something, I'll try to post up things that I know there's a lot of production tasks for. For example, lately, a lot of people have been getting that cardwood task. So I've been keeping my depot well stocked with planks and tape for those players, right? What's frustrating to me is when somebody comes on the game and they wipe out my whole depot. They just buy everything, all of it, all at once. And that pisses me off because it's like, dude, that wasn't for you to just take all of it, okay? That was there for somebody so that they could get some help when they needed it. Now, if you come to my depot and you see 5 paint posted and you only need 2 and you really don't need the other 3 and you think that you want to help somebody else, put the 3 for sale in your depot, or put 2 and keep 1. Don't just take it and then sell it to global. And I'm not kidding you. That's what you guys are doing. You guys are taking stuff that you don't really need or hoarding it when you don't really need it right now. And then later you're selling it to global when you could be selling it to people in your group. All you have to do is say full depot, right? Decent items up, full depot, need gone ASAP. Or up for grabs. And that's if you want your depot cleared. But if you don't want your depot cleared and you want to be able to help people when they need it, make sure that you say, my depot is well stocked for everybody. Please only take what you need and post what you don't need for other players. Now, again, this depends on what kind of group you're in. If you're in a war group, there's things that you can do as a player to be a better player, a better member to your group. You can post war items for sale. You can post specific types of items that you know are going to be needed for war deliveries. If you know that there's going to be if you see multiple people in your group saying, God, I'm waiting on this factory production task, it's taken forever, right? I usually try to keep some seeds in my depot and some minerals because I know that seeds and minerals especially the seeds and textiles and chemicals. Those are the 3, even feed. Okay, those are the top 4 that are the hardest to get on the global market, for me anyway, and especially for the low-level players. Not very many people make seeds, and typically you usually end up needing like 1 for a repair, or you have to make something for comm and you don't have any and your factories are full. So I try to keep 5 of each factory item up, like 5 techs, 5 chems, 5 feed. And I even try to keep, if I have the space available, I try to keep some metal, some wood, some plastic so that people have it when they need it, right? Now, you're only limited to 32 depot slots. If you're somebody who's constantly selling stuff to global and constantly broke, then you, sir, need to watch my fucking production guide video and you need to change the way you're playing your game. There is no reason why you should be that broke. No reason at all. There's no reason at all why you should have to sell things like, if you're selling things like paint, ladders, cheese, cream, beef, rolls, if you're selling things like that for money, that's why you're broke. You're making the wrong items, okay? Me and CPT put a lot of work into that 20-page production guide. We ran numbers for weeks, okay? We have mastered the game when it comes to how to make money. And if you follow our production guide, it will help you. And I'm going to have a new production video coming out that you guys are all going to want to watch because there's other ways you can use this production guide to assist you with your Contest of Mayors assignments. And a lot of you are not doing that, okay? Now, how else can you be a good group member? Aside from being active, aside from having to, just checking in on your club and saying, hey guys, get the chat moving again. Don't be somebody who doesn't talk. Always just saying a simple hello, does anyone need anything, it makes all the difference. It gets other people to start talking, right? What else can you do? Well, you can contribute towards the Contest of Mayors assignments, the group chest, depending on what kind of group you're in. We specifically try to lose the war because we have a lot of players that are doing the Missy's Building Guide. They camp level 20 and they need those silver tokens. And the only way that you're going to obtain enough silver tokens is if you lose war, right? Launch at least one time to qualify for the victory or the defeat rewards. You want to go around, if you're doing it like the Missy's Building Guide where you want to get those silver tokens, then you want to find a group that purposefully tries to lose the war, but is in arena 3 or 4. That's the best arenas to bounce between. Why is that? Well, we know that you need to be able to launch when you get those assignments, right? And if you're under shield, it makes it problematic to do that. You have to repair 100% before you can launch, which is super frustrating, especially to low-level players when they need to launch right away and they're stuck under shield, right? So you're just getting smacked in the higher arenas. But in the lower arenas, you don't get hit at all, right? They don't really do much of anything. So you're stuck with them under shield, and you end up having to do a lot of war deliveries to get war items because now you're not getting hit, so you're not getting cheap war items. So you also are limited to the amount of boosters that you can use in the lower arenas, which means jackpots, personal rewards, things like that. You want to be able to earn, not personal rewards, the VU pass. You want to be able to earn a decent amount of points. Now, because they took out the personal rewards with the whole chest thing, I'll pull up the VU pass here. So you guys get this VU pass now. And this is how you're going to be obtaining your cards. So essentially what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use your war coins to buy jackpots. You're going to want to coordinate your attacks with other players to maximize points. You're going to want to unlock the specific war cards available if you're playing for the purpose of the Contest of Mayors only, which is in the Missy's Building Guide. And then you can choose to pay for this pass or not pay for it. If you choose to pay for it, you have to pay for each tier. I would pay $2.99 for this one, and then I'd pay $5.99 for this one. And then the next one goes up even more. Okay? It's ridiculous. Most people don't pay for it. They just do the one level and then they just proceed on. As you can see, it does offer war cards and other things, but if you're an avid war player, there's things that you can do to better assist your group, right? You can keep, if you're a low-level war player, or honestly, even if you're not low-level, when you guys get hit in war, you get repairs done. You get damage done to your city, right? So when you have damage done, you can repair your damage for cheap items, which give you war items. So let's say that you have a lot of high hitters in your group, or you have somebody that, maybe you have people that need to launch attacks on the monster and they don't have war items or whatever. It's a good way for you to make some money. But the problem is that in Arena 5 and 6, you get hit so much and you have so many war items available that it takes up your storage, and then when you go to sell them, they don't sell quick enough, so they end up overflowing your depot. And because they can't be posted to global, you're stuck with them taking up one slot each time. That is why I tell people to launch some of those war items up, because you're going to need, you can get the rewards for free, right? Free and easy. But try to keep the ones that you know a lot of players need. For example, I know that a lot of players in my group are low level. So when I see rewards, war repairs for plungers and ducks, I know that many people in my group use those because they're low level players. So I put plungers up all the time. Or I put up ammo crates to make money at the end, but a lot of people don't buy those. But they're a good way for you to make some money, right? But you don't want to fill your depot packed full, because then you won't be able to sell anything else. So you don't want to get hit over and over and over and over and constantly be put under shield. But you want to be able to utilize the war rewards, and you want to be able to maximize your coins by just doing a few repairs here and there. It's also good to remember not to get knocked down. If you're under shield a lot, if you only had been hit for 6 damage, repair it as quickly as possible. Because if you get knocked down, it's going to screw up the schedule of your war. If your group is on a war schedule, it'll end your war early, and it'll throw your whole group off schedule. Okay? So you have to pay attention to what's going on in your group and your members. You should be thinking about the people in your group at all times, right? So as a leader, what can you do? Well, let's see. As a group leader, it's your job to make sure that people are doing what they need to do, that they're following the rules, they're meeting the criteria. You have to be the bitch, so to speak. And you guys as members need to remember that the role of a president is not fun, okay? It is not easy, and you don't need to give that person a harder time than what they're already having. When you guys come on the game and you ask for an item, you want help, right? You want that to be available. That's all you really care about. You really don't care about how you get the help. You really don't care about how the people join the group or who they are or what they do. All you really care about is that when you need help, you get it. And that means that you're not a very good player, okay? That means you're not a very good team player is what I'm saying. And you need to remember that you need to give back to your team. And if everybody did that, oh, what a perfect place would the world be, right? But they don't. They just think about themselves. They open up their game when they decide it's convenient for them. They come on, they ask for whatever it is that they need. They get what they need, and then they put out little effort to help you fill what you need. But they do want you there when they need help. The same people that complain about how they have a busy life and things going on and don't have time for the game, well, then why are you in here? You're playing a game. You don't join a gun game. You don't go on Fortnite and say, sorry guys, I know I'm supposed to be here shooting, but hello, I'm smoking a joint over here. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're here to play a game, right? Now, this is the type of game where you're logged in all day. So it's not the same thing as sitting down and actively playing Fortnite. But you don't expect to you can't expect to take up a spot in a group all the time and then give out little to no effort, because you have to figure, if everybody did exactly what you were doing, what would the group be like? And if you look at that and go, wow, it'd be pretty dead. Yeah, then you need to give back equally. Now, there are some people like myself, they play the game a lot. They're on a lot. I haven't been on a lot lately because I've been so busy helping you guys and doing videos and things like that. But you do need to at least participate. And everybody, when they, oh, I haven't been on the game, I've been busy, blah, 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 they're full of shit, okay? Most of the time, they're full of shit. And I proved it. And everybody that's in my group knows what I'm going to say right now. How many times have I asked people who's on, who's active, speak up, I haven't seen so-and-so, and I put out a list of names. Nobody responds for days, for hours, for weeks, for months even sometimes. And then I say, you know what? I'm going to boot you. You better start being active. And then sure as shit, nobody says anything. And then mark my words. And you guys that are in my group, you know what I'm going to say. I boot them, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, the game does not alert you if you're not on the game. If your game is closed and you're not on the game and you get removed from the mayor's group, you do not get a notification. Unless they changed it recently, you do not get one. Okay? Now, if you're on the game and your game is open, right? And you're looking at your game, the moment that you open your game, it's going to pop up a notification and it's going to say you have been removed from the club. And it's going to pop that up, and the last thing that you'll see in the chat is whatever was said before you were removed. Okay? Sometimes it catches up and it'll show you like what was said after you were removed, but not normally. Now, what these people do is once you're removed, you are not able to just join in right away, usually. Usually it takes about 15 to 20 minutes before the game will let you see that group, because they assume you were removed for being irritating and they don't want you to just be able to join in right away, right? So it's usually about 15 to 20 minutes. And I tell in my group, I say, mark my words, let's start the clock. I give them 20 minutes before they come in here. And sure as shit, they all, one by one, come in. And this has been going on for years, okay? I have proven this time and time again. Now, if they weren't notified, and they were on the game, why the fuck weren't they talking when I was asking them for the last week? Saying, hey, dude, where you been? Where you been? Where you been? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck's going on? Why aren't you active? So you're on the game to see you got removed. You're clearly on. There's other ways I can tell when you're on the game. When I look at your points, your population, your depot, when I see you selling things, adding points to calm, when I see that you have 100,000 points in the contest of mayors in the first 2 days, but then you tell me how you haven't been on, that's bullshit, okay? You don't get 100,000 points in 2 days by not being active, even if you're spending money, is what I'm saying. So there's a lot of ways that even though the game doesn't show you active, there's ways that you can tell if people are bullshitting you. I don't like liars that sit here and make shit up and tell me like stupid crap. If I ask you what category you're doing an epic in, you say beach, and I ask you how many 3-pointers you have, and you say, I got 10, and I go over to your city, and I see one 1-pointer and two 2-pointers sitting there, and I find out that you just wasted all my good items, I'm going to be pissed off, yeah. If I ask you what level your shop is, and you tell me it's 3 stars, and I go and I look and it's 1 star, yeah, I'm going to be really annoyed. If I ask you if you bought the premium pass, and ask you about your rewards and I'm helping you and you tell me, no, I didn't buy the premium pass, but then send me a screenshot that shows me you bought with a gold symbol but didn't realize it, yeah, I'm going to be annoyed. That type of shit annoys me, okay? So be a good member, be honest, be active, think about somebody other than yourself, and just realize that it takes little effort, and this can go in real life too, just paying it forward, so to speak. Like, you don't have to give anything away for free, right? A lot of people, they want a handout. You'll ask them for a war item, and then they'll say they want locks or something. They'll be like, I want storage for it. It's like, what drugs are you on, dude? I'm not giving you storage items for a fucking toilet plunger, okay? It's not going to happen. Not in a million years. Now, if you're somebody who's in my group and you're on all the time, you're a good friend of mine, whatever, and you're hurting for storage or what, yeah, of course I'll help you. No shit. But if you haven't even established a relationship in the group or you don't do the same for us, why would we do for you what you don't do for us? And that is what I'm about to say. Never do for someone else what they are not willing to do for you. If they're not going to do it for you, why the fuck are you doing it for them? Don't do it. And that goes with anything in life. You ever fucking be without a car? You know what I'm saying. You be walking everywhere. And the moment you get a car, can I get a ride? Can I get a ride? Can I get a ride? You know? You got gas money? No. Meanwhile, can I get a cigarette? And then fucking they leave and you see a pack of cigarettes in their purse. They've been bumming off you all day though. Those types of people. I'm not for it. I don't like it. I don't need it. I can always find active, ungrateful assholes. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm looking for. I want respectful people who have some level of common sense to join the group and participate and be a team player. If you don't want that and you want to fly solo, then don't join a group, or join a group that specifically states, we don't care if you're a loser. You know what I mean? Like, we don't care if you're a slacker. You can just be a slacker in here, and I guarantee you that won't last long, because eventually what will happen is everybody will go inactive. They get comfortable, they stop talking, and everybody starts to go inactive. And then the moment that you need help, you realize just how annoying that is when no one's on to help you. And then all of a sudden, you're looking to the president to fix the answers and go, well, why is no one active? Well, gee, dude, why not? Why aren't you active? You tell me, because I've been in here bitching for everybody to be active, and ain't nobody want to be active. So what do you do, right? And it's super frustrating. So as a president, I used to make the mistake of being way too easy on people. I would constantly remind them of the group rules. I would make people a VP way too early on, and it wasn't really meaningful because I didn't want them to get removed during roll call because we were an active group. And I would just leave them as VPs. Then they accidentally start war, they screw everything up. So what's the difference between a senior and a VP? A senior can start war. They can't promote anybody up to VP. A VP can only promote a member up to senior, which they can't do in my group unless they get authorization to, because we don't even have seniors in my group, because there's no point to have seniors in my group. Seniors can accept applications. They can't remove anybody, right? So really, they're just there to cause problems. That whole placement is just dumb. Now, vice president can start war, accept applications, and remove people. President is the one that can edit the group, close the group, remove people, promote people up to vice president, that kind of thing. Now, unfortunately, there's no way right now to change it to where only a specific person can start war, okay? So in my group, you have to really earn that VP spot. If you are a VP in my group, and I suggest that if you are a president that you listen to this as well, make sure that the VPs are conducting themselves of a higher standard than a general member, okay? Why are they allowed to hold that title if they're not conducting themselves and setting an example for new members? It is your job to make the rules clear, okay? As a president, it's your job to enforce the rules and make those rules very clear. If you do that and they are not followed, it is your job to take action. That's your job as a president. If you don't want that type of player in your group, if they're stealing from people, if they're causing problems, it's your job to remove that toxic person. Now, if you're not a leader, you're not that type of person, you don't have the people, whatever the case may be, you might not want to be a president. Maybe president role isn't for you, okay? A leader role, playing as a leader is much different than playing as a member. A VP role is much different than a member role. It means that as a VP, what you're supposed to do as a VP, you're supposed to hold yourself to a higher standard than a general member. A general member opens their game, participates in the group, follows the rules, and helps out when they can. A vice president is on and active a little bit more than a member. And even if they're not, all the time, then they're usually contributing to all aspects of the group by trade or points or whatever, and they enforce the rules. So when they're enforcing the rules, that means they have to follow the rules themselves. When you have VPs that aren't following the rules, much less enforcing them, much less following them themselves, they need to be demoted back down to member. They should not be able to hold that title and not be following the rules, right? Now, here's the other thing with that. If you have a VP that's giving bad advice or that's answering questions incorrectly, right? That stands to your character as at your group when you run a YouTube channel. So if you're just in any group, then that's whatever. But in my group, people come to my group to get advice from me, right? So they see my channel on YouTube, they see my videos, they see how informative they are. They get this this interest in wanting to play the game with me and getting advice from me and asking me questions and wanting to be a part of our group. Now, when you guys join my group, you expect that if you join my group and you ask a question and you look and you see that person's a vice president, you're going to assume automatically that just by where you're at, that you can take that person's advice to be truthful. And what's frustrating for me is when somebody in my group that's a VP or even even a member comes in and they say things as if they're fact, and they're not fact. They're something they read on stupid ass Reddit or whatever, and they're wrong. And then I end up having to come into the conversation and say, look, no, that's not true. This is how it really is. Don't listen to that person. And it creates tension in the club because now the person that said it either doesn't believe you and now it's an argument and you have to prove your argument and why you're saying what you're saying, or they are embarrassed because, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And so there's just tension. So when you make statements that you don't know to be factual, it's a really good idea to say, I heard, I read, I think, the theory is, things like that. Don't say, this is the way it is. 600 storage is the max, because it's not the max, okay? Now, you can say things like, it used to be the max, or unless the game has changed. Use phrases like that. That way, that person doesn't take what you say to be factual, okay? And I'm going to talk more about that in the other video that I'm doing today. But you guys, there's a lot of things that you could do to be a good group member that in fact, almost nobody does. Another thing is when people are doing epic projects, right? Make sure that you guys are actually helping the person finish those epic projects, saying that they have the right amount of pointers. Also make sure that if somebody's doing one, that you don't start one at the same time. It makes it very difficult. If somebody asks for an item, and let's say I come on the game, I ask for 5 melons, okay? And I say that I'm just doing house upgrades and it's not really for anything important. And then CPT asks for 3 melons and somebody comes on, they post 3 melons for him. Well, yeah, that's rude because I asked for him first, right? But let's say that CPT comes on and says, hey, I'm doing an epic project. Are you guys going to be on to help me? And I say, yeah, sure. I'll close my depot for just CPT. I'm going to post a bunch of stuff for him. And then once he's done, my depot will be open to anybody else. And that you can still request items during his epic, but just remember that he comes first, right? So then he says he needs melons right after me. I'm probably, being a good member, I'm going to say, you know what? You need them more than I do. Go ahead and take them. I'll get mine after you get yours. So that is how you can be a good member. Realize the importance of who needs what first and who asked first come, first serve. If you're trading rares and me and you have already agreed to trade dozer for storage, and so jumps into the conversation and then swoops right in and says, I'll give you this dozer for this storage after me and you already made an agreement, and you're dealing with them? No, you deal with me first. It's first come, first serve. If he was there first, you deal with him first. You don't do multiple trades at a time. You don't post rares when the person is not at your depot. I don't care if your club's in war. Well, at least if you're in my group. I don't care if your depot is not advertised. It does not matter to me, because here's what's going to happen. And it happens like clockwork every time. Somebody accidentally globals it. Somebody goes AFK. Somebody's game crashes. Somebody had a phone call come in. Their phone died. They fell off the face of the earth. Okay? Whatever the case may be, but they go off the game. They say, okay, let me know. They don't even say, let me know when you're here. They're just like, I'll trade you 5 wheels for 5 blocks. And somebody says, blocks up. Really? So now somebody who's in the group is just going to rush and swoop them out from underneath you, somebody that you can't trust. Now, you want people you can trust in your group. Let's say that that's true, and you don't global it, and you know you're not going to global it, but you don't know if that person's going to lose internet connection. That happens a lot. Or whatever, they go, okay, and now you have locks sitting in your depot that you can't retrieve. And nobody's on to sell them back to you, and you wanted to global stuff. So now you're stuck looking at these locks in your depot going, well, this is just great, right? So, yeah, there's lots of ways that can be problematic. And you could fix all of that from happening by doing a simple let me know when you're here. LMKY or WYH. Let me know when you're here. That is the abbreviations we use. If you're in my group, those are the rules that you'll be needing to follow. Let me know when you're here. Up for grabs, open depot, things like that. You're always going to say the amount when you need something. Why? Because it's annoying as fuck when you don't. Because You come on, you say, I need nails. Great, that's nice. How many? A lot. Well, how many's a lot? 10. No. A lot's like 100, dude. Oh, okay. Well, as many as I can get. Okay, I got 300 fucking nails. How many you want? 10. Are you kidding me? Just say it. It makes it so much easier. And then what I can do is I can say, okay, I know he needs 10. But if you say that, and I post 2, then you're like, anybody have more nails? Well, I did have more, but you didn't tell me how many you needed. So now you're like, okay, well, can I have more? And so I post more. And you're like, okay, well, I need 3 more. Does anybody have 3 more nails? Dude, oh my God. You could have just said 10 nails. And I would have said 10 nails up. Or if I had 7, I would have said 7 nails up. This makes it to where you don't have to ask again, and everybody knows you need 3 more. It's simple. It's so simple. These are not hard rules to follow. Say the amount. Don't post rares until the person is at your depot. Be a good team player, right? It's common sense stuff. Don't sell good items to the global market when you have players in your group that would benefit from those. There's certain items that you make to make money, okay? That you should be producing all day, every day to turn the highest profit. Then you have the items that you're forced to make for the contest of mayors. Then you have the items that you sell to clear out some space in your storage. If you're selling things that are not the highest profitable items because you're constantly broke, then you are playing the game incorrectly. You really don't want to sell things like paint or ladders or whatever. You want to make, if you're looking to make money, you want to make the highest profitable items, which, you know, strangely enough, the highest profitable items, fastest. It's so funny because people think that burgers and shit are the highest profitable items, and they're not. They're just the ones that sell for the most money. There's a big difference between selling for the most money and turning the highest profit. Nails turn it the highest profit, okay? If you make metal in 1 minute and you make a nail in 4 minutes, that's 5 minutes total for a nail, and you get how much? $80 a nail. Yeah. You can make $14,400 on 1 times 12 token on a 3-star shop making nails. That's $14,400 an hour is what you'd be making running nails on gold as a 3-star shop. So ask yourself, why the fuck are you making paint and selling it to global? Why? That's crazy, right? Why are you making melons and smoothies all day when, okay, yeah, the total time it takes to make a smoothie turns a higher profit than the total time it takes to make a donut. However, there's one thing you didn't take into consideration. You can only make so many smoothies in a day as comparison to donuts because of the melons, and then you have the cost that you have what you lost in your other shops. Then you have to take into consideration that the reason that the per minute value is higher on smoothies versus donuts is because you have 7 hours worth of factory production for donuts. You have 4 hours worth of sugar and 3 hours worth of textiles to account for. But with smoothies, you only make metal, wood, plastic, seeds, right? That's what you make in your factories. That doesn't take up much time. A factory runs 60 items at any one time. A store runs 1 item at a time. So yeah, it's going to say that you turn a higher profit making a smoothie because less time goes into making one, right? And it sells for more money than it does. However, how many smoothies can you make in a day? You can't make 40 smoothies in a day. Not unless you have 40 melons, which you're not going to be able to find melons on global in that quantity. Then you have to take away the production of whatever you're going to be making in your garden shop, whatever you're going to be making in your hardware shop, because now you're not going to be able to make hammers because you got to make shovels to make saps, right? And saps turn a low profit, so you lose money. You don't lose what you don't have, right? But you lose the opportunity to make more money. So if you cut a little bit of cost everywhere to make more money, you're going to make more money than if you were to say, okay, this one turns a higher per minute value. Yeah, it does. But there's still a little more thought that has to go into it. If you make a smoothie in 24 minutes, you make 40 smoothies in a day, right? So how are you going to produce 40 saps and 40 melons in one day. Do not. But you can run a steady supply of flour and donuts, and that is why you're told to make donuts. Now, if you could easily buy melons on the global market, then that might be a little bit different. But then you would also have to take into consideration cutting cost elsewhere. So when you're thinking about stuff, you have to realize what items you're selling to the global market. If you're selling things that are things that you should be keeping, then you should be selling them to your group members, not global. If you're going to be selling beef because you're making beef at night like a dipshit, then sell them to your group members, okay? Now, there's a lot of things that high-level players, you have to take into consideration. Everybody's algorithm is different based off level. If you are a level 18 player, it would be helpful of you, because you can't help the high-level players with high-level items, it's helpful if you can help them with low levels like cement, glue, tape, shovels, saps, melons, veggies, things like that. Those are things that we as high-level players don't see very often, and it would help us a ton. Now, we can help you guys in a lot of ways too, right? So everybody kind of has to do their part in order to help people. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a situation where everybody's looking out for themselves. Nobody's getting what they need. Everybody's frustrated, and you have little to no activity in your group. You're here to play a game. It is a RTS, real-time strategy game, and because of that, yeah, you're going to be inactive a lot when you sleep, when you work, when you take care of your kids. That's why it's so important that when you are on, that you are the most active, okay? Now, I'm going to get off here because I want to get some other videos done today, but I really wanted to touch base on that because I see so many of you on the global market selling things that you really should be keeping for your group members. We'll talk about supply and demand and things like that later in other videos, but bad advice is another one. The way that you conversate in your group and explain things and ask questions is very crucial to not only your success, but the success of everybody around you. Do not use phrases that are factual if you don't know it to be fact. It's very misleading, and that is why there's so much bad advice out about this game. And I'm going to tell you right now, I play a lot of games, okay? And I've played a lot of games in the past. I'm a Diablo 2 fan. I played that shit growing up. I played SimCity, all the SimCity builds growing up, like SimCity 2000 on PC. I play Realm Royale on PS4. Love that game. The developers fucked it up, but I love the game. I used to play Fortnite, but I suck at the building. So yeah, I play a lot of games, and there's a lot of videos like walkthroughs and strategies. I played Mario and stuff like that. So what I'll tell you though is, out of all the games that I've played, this one here, hands down, is the most complex when it comes to how to strategize your fundamentals of your city. Like, you can, this is the type of game where anybody can pick it up and play it, but not everybody can be successful. Based on the decisions you make, it will show greatly what type of player you are. If you're somebody who has played for 6 years and has little to nothing to do, that it shows and it speaks to the amount of time and what you do with your time, okay? If you see, like, for example, CPT, okay? I know I talk about him a lot and everything, but he's level 24. He's done the Missy's Building Guide. With what he has accomplished, if he was to join into anybody's group right here, right now, and he was to join in and say, I'm level 24, I played for 3 months, I have max this, max that, max it, they're going to be like, what the fuck, are you hacked? And if he says no and he can prove, no, I'm not hacked. Once he proves that, they'll be like, how the hell did he do that? What do you mean? I've been playing 6 years, da, 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 da. Because he followed my guide, okay? 150%, 200%. He followed my guide. I'm telling you guys, I have broke down the fundamentals of this game. I have studied this shit. I know my shit. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this game. And I'm going to tell you, you've got to be very careful with what advice you take and where you get it from. Now, that being said, if you are out there spreading bad advice because you read it on Reddit, okay, you're poisoning the water hole, so to speak. You are putting it out there and not in a theory, not like, hey, I read this and this is what I saw. It's like, did you know this? Or I saw that. Like, no, dude, it's horrible because once it starts, it spreads like a wildfire and people believe shit like that. People are so naive. They don't look into the things for themselves. They just assume that whatever's said is factual. And this game, and this whole point I was getting at here, is this game has the most bad advice out of all the games that I've ever played or looked up advice on. The advice that's out there is all really bad. The whole reason that I started the channel, I already told you guys this in some of my previous videos, was because so many people would join my group and I got sick of having to type it out. I never really wanted or had the desire or even the thought to like go big with it or anything. But after doing my research and kind of looking out there and seeing the advice that is out there, I realized how bad it really was. And I'm like, wow, dude, this is terrible. No wonder people are having such a hard time because they go with people follow who gets them to where they need to go. Okay. And if this is who you have to look up to and take advice from, it speaks volumes as to why people end up in this almost a state of limbo in a sense. Like they end up in this constant running in place, just never getting anywhere or accomplishing anything. Like, I don't know if any of you have seen that Alice movie with the real people, and they go into like that Lotus Casino or some shit, but they sit there and they're just like in a trance, and they're so like hypnotized to do the same thing every day to never get anywhere. And it's like, seriously, dude, like, come on, man, you're not getting anywhere. Why are you doing this? Why are you spending $3 grand in 4 years when you have nothing to show for? Where's your money going? Why are you playing war each week to get war cards, to unlock war stuff, to play more war, to get nowhere playing war if you don't even enjoy war? That's foolish. You know, why are you spending $40 a week to play the contest of mayors to not win more than you're putting into it, to get rares that you only needed for the contest of mayors? That's foolish, right? So we'll see how it turns out, because with the Missy's Building Guide, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to max out, you're going to excel, and then you're going to be sitting there as a level 24 player going, well, cool, everything's done. So now what? Now you can enjoy what the game was supposed to be about. And I'm going to talk about that in my next video. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one up there, but hopefully this helps you guys be a better group member and gives you an idea of what you can do to really help out your club and the people in it, because you don't want to be a burden to your group. You really don't. It's no fun for anybody. We're all here to have fun and play a game, and the president doesn't want to have to be a nag. It would be nice if everybody was active when they were on, just a little bit here and there, then it would alleviate a lot of stress off the couple really active people, right? If you have 25 members and they all talk when they're on, just the couple minutes that they're on, that chat will be moving all fucking day, all day. So you won't even have to be active, because so-and-so will come on at 9 o'clock and say, hey, filling in my shops, anybody need anything? So-and-so will say, oh, hey, good morning, blah, 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 I'm doing the same. They get off the game, people pop in an hour later, oh, hey, what's up? You know, but people don't do that. They open their game, they don't say a word. They fill their shops, they get off the game, they don't say a word. Somebody comes on, they say, hey, I need something, nobody answers, they get annoyed, they go about their day, and then maybe in a couple hours, a bunch of people come on at lunchtime, they all trade a few items super quick, and then the chat goes dead for hours. That's not gonna be successful. You want to have a little bit of activity, and also if you have your group open, if you don't have your chat moving, it's not going to go to the top of the refresh thing. So the way that it used to work before they did this new thing where you can like put that you're, for wars and things like that, if you didn't talk, your shit went to the bottom. the moment that you start talking in your group, all of a sudden people start joining because it boosts it to the top as an active group. If you have a dead group, nobody's going to want to be in it. Now, you have to take into consideration that there are people that are on that are super busy and maybe you don't have time to talk. That's totally fine. But how often does that need to happen? Does that really need to happen all day, every time you're on? If so, then you really shouldn't be in a group at all. Because if you don't have time for it, then why are you in it? Or go to one when you have time. Like, hey, I'm only on 1 hour every 2-3 days. So bounce between clubs that are open then. Find one that better suits your needs, right? Don't be a burden to your group just because you like the people you're playing with. There's lots of Facebook groups where you guys can go and advertise like your group or try to get people or whatever. And again, with those Facebook groups, you've got to be careful about the advice you get. I'm telling you, just because somebody can supply you with a good data chart does not mean they're giving you good advice. Remember that, okay? All right, you guys.